The station with the most local news. Fox 17 News starts now with a breaking news alert.
There are very significant assets and resources out there committed to finding this person. We will not stop until we've resolved that issue and caught this person.
Governor Snyder speaking at a press conference about 45 minutes ago in Mount Pleasant. We continue to follow the breaking news out of Mount Pleasant. A 19-year-old on the run this evening after allegedly shooting 2 people in a dorm on Central Michigan University's main campus this morning. Thanks for joining us at 5 o'clock. I'm Derek Francis.
And I'm Janice Allen. Here's what we know at this hour. That shooting happened around 8:30 this morning on the 4th floor of Campbell Hall on campus. Police say the suspect is a 19-year-old James Eric Davis Jr., a student at CMU. And we're finally starting to hear more about the victims. Yeah, now according to a tweet from Illinois State Representative Emmanuel Chris Welch, the victims are Bellwood officer James Davis Sr. and his wife Diva, who, according to the Free Press, are the suspect's parents. We want to begin our team coverage tonight with Fox 17's Rebecca Russell. Rebecca, just last hour we got an update from officials and police there on campus. What did they have to say?
Yeah, guys, well, we're in the University Center where that press conference happened about an hour ago. We heard from law enforcement officials as well as university officials and Governor Snyder. Now, I want to reiterate just a couple of the points that law enforcement were able to tell us. First and foremost is that they are still searching for that suspect tonight. They have more than 100 law enforcement out searching for him. Another point that not one of them has made contact or seen the suspect, and they have not received any calls from any witnesses who have seen him either. Another couple of points they want to make is that they're right now doing a slow and methodical removal of students from buildings here on campus, but there are still students on lockdown on the 4th floor of Campbell Hall where the incident took place earlier. They say the suspect is considered armed and dangerous. Do not approach him. If you see him, to call 911. Now, we also heard from Governor Snyder as well, who earlier today was seen meeting with students and parents here on campus. But a couple of points that he made here at this press conference was that this incident just shows that they have a lot of work to do and they're going to do the right thing. Take a listen.
We were already active looking at what we can do on our campuses and our schools to protect people better. This reinforces the point. This is not simply about K-12. This is an outstanding university, and we need to include our campuses, our universities and community colleges, and how we can do more to help protect our students and our staff. So this will be an ongoing dialogue. We won't have all the answers today. What I can tell you is there's a commitment to do what's right.
Now, we also heard from the president of the university here, who tells us that once students return after spring break, there are going to be counseling resources available to them if they need to speak about the incident that happened here. He's also hoping that the students will be going home to spend some time with their families and will be able to speak openly about what happened here today, and that they'll be okay to return to campus. Now, there have not been any more press conference scheduled here tonight, but we are waiting to see when that's going to happen. And of course, we'll bring you guys an update live when that does happen. But for now, we are live in the University Center. Rebecca Russell, Fox 17 News.
All right, Rebecca, thank you. We would like to continue our team coverage now with Fox 17's Darren Cunningham.
Yeah, he is live on Central Michigan University's campus after hearing from some parents and some students today. Darren?
Yes, well, you heard from Governor Snyder there. We actually watched him come and go from here before that press conference here at Towers Residence Halls, specifically Campbell Hall, which is where police say this shooting took place. And the 4th floor, as we understand it, is still on lockdown. A number of students there not able to leave because it is an active crime scene. But up until about 2 o'clock, all of these buildings here were on lockdown. And once those students were able to be let go, we caught up with several of them as they left with their belongings. Many of them headed home for spring break.
Scary moment, very scary moment. We was up, he was down in the lunchroom, I was up in my room, I had my window open. I didn't hear anything, and he was down there. They kept him barricaded in the lunchroom. We couldn't leave the room at all. People come out, knock on the door, hey, this is the RA, you can't leave, school on lockdown. just very scary moment, nerve-wracking, very nerve-wracking, I would say.
Yeah.
Our family members calling for us. We got family members from New York, Atlanta, calling us, checking up on us. Oh, is your son okay? Your parents calling on you, crying on the phone, glad that their son is okay. So just to know that we could be able to go back home, I'm honestly ready to get out of here. Like, it's so scary. I do not want to be here anymore.
And you just heard there from Jalil a very good summary of basically how students have felt during this whole experience with this shooting taking place right here on campus inside their dorm. He actually lived in a building adjacent to where these homicides took place. But right now you're looking at very heavy police presence. This isn't even half of it. Several state police vehicles out here outside the dorms. Some students also expressing that they feel safe with this police presence. They feel that things were very much under control and that they are under control as police continue to look for the suspects in this tragedy. Right now I'm live in Mount Pleasant. I'll send it back to you.
All right, Darren, thank you. Of course, very scary on campus, maybe even more so because that shooter has not been located yet. We want to go out now to Dana Chiklis. Dana is in an area where police are currently searching right now. Dana, what else is happening there?
Yeah, well, behind us here, we're on this railroad track. You can see a few officers again coming out of the brush. One we were just seeing shine a flashlight in that wooded area. This is West Maple off of South Oak Street, again, about 2 miles north of campus, and specifically Campbell Hall, the dorm where the shooting happened before 9 this morning. So this is obviously a residential area, off-campus housing for many students. This is where officers, part of the area where police were going door to door earlier searching, which still continues tonight. Behind us, if we can spin along this railroad track, there is what looks to be a group of dumpsters to the right of the tracks there. Again, we saw another officer who's scouting that area, fully armored and bulletproof vest, walking around and canvassing that area. So, you know, based on our observations, it looks like this may be a hiding place or a potential spot for the shooter, alleged shooter, 19-year-old James Davis. So we're here off of campus, and the latest information we've got from the university was about 3 o'clock. As far as we know, dorms and on-campus buildings are still in lockdown. When we were there talking with students, they were being escorted by police between buildings, or parents were waiting outside. People coming out with many bags in hand, leaving the area for spring break, but still in lockdown. We were not allowed in any dorms. We're asked for ID and whether or not we lived there. So that is the latest we know from campus as the search for the shooter still continues. For now, we're live in Mount Pleasant. Dana Chiklis, Fox 17 News.
An active scene right there by the railroad tracks, as she mentioned. Still a whole lot we don't know about the main suspect, but earlier today we spoke to his college roommate.
Our Annie Satowski live in the newsroom now with more on what he had to say. Annie.
Yeah, Derek, Janice, as we told you, the suspect in all of this, James Davis Jr., he was a student at CMU, and we got the chance to speak with his roommate on campus, Brendan Erskine. Now, he is currently in Georgia now, already on spring break, a lot of students heading there, but he heard the news about everything that happened around at 9 o'clock this morning. He says he was just in a state of shock after hearing that news. He tells us he didn't know too much about Davis's family life, but he says he doesn't believe that Davis was very close with his parents. Here's how he describes their situation.
It didn't seem like he was extremely close to his parents at all. Like, he didn't, always, he would go home, but it didn't seem like he wanted to go home in that way. Like, he just didn't seem like he wanted to be there type. It seemed like they would fight. It sounded like. He might have had depression. I could see that. He just seemed kind of down type.
We're going to give you another look at that suspect, James Davis Jr. He's described as about 5 feet 10 inches tall and around 135 pounds. Remember, if anyone in the area sees him, do not approach him. He's considered armed and dangerous. Just call 911. Police, of course, asking for everyone to be very vigilant during this time and help them track them down the best they can. So if you know anything about where he may be, give them a call right away. In the newsroom tonight, Andy Satowski, Fox 17 News.
All right, Andy, thank you for that. State leaders today also understandably keeping a close eye on this situation today.
Fox 17's Lauren Edwards live in studio with a look at what they're saying about what happened. Lauren.
Derek and Janice, Governor Snyder, as you heard, is on campus now, meeting with police as well as staff and students. He says this is an issue that hits close to him. I know he's tweeting earlier today, I'm a dad. I've got college students, these young people having this happen in a dorm. It's important we all support one another. We need to rally as Michiganders. We need to be one big family when we have tragic events like this go on. Meantime, going on to the next one, Gretchen Whitmer, she tweeted out, the governor candidate, my heart is with the students and parents at CMU right now. All our students deserve safe learning environments. Please stay safe, everyone. And going on to the next one, Michigan, Senator Gary Peters, deeply saddened to see another tragic incident of gun violence, this time in Michigan. I am heartbroken for the victims and praying for the safety of the Mount Pleasant community as first responders work to apprehend the shooter. And last but not least, going on to the very last tweet that we have here, Representative Brenda Lawrence wrote, as a proud graduate of Central Michigan University, my heart is broken to hear the loss of life from gun violence on this campus with a gun-free policy. My deepest condolences to the grieving community. Of course, this is just a small sample of some of the reaction to the tragedy at CMU. We will continue to bring you updates, including those from students in Parkland, Florida, who experienced the school shooting just 2 weeks ago.
All right, Lauren, thank you. U.S. Congressman John Molinar, also who represents the area that encompasses CMU, reacting to this by issuing this statement. He said today's tragedy breaks the hearts of everyone who's part of the CMU community. He went on to say that the university works hard to ensure a safe learning environment for all of its students, faculty, and staff. Isabella County Central Dispatch posted this on Facebook just hours after the shooting, saying they alerted all of the Mount Pleasant schools, advising them to go into lockdown. Surrounding schools were also notified. In the comment section, many people have been posting about which schools were on lockdown. Western
Michigan men's basketball team was up in Mount Pleasant this morning in a hotel for a game scheduled for this evening against Central Michigan. That game has been postponed, as you can imagine, in the wake of the shootings. Kathy Beauregard, the AD for the Broncos, tweeting this statement earlier today, saying the players are safe in their hotel, and both schools say this game will eventually be rescheduled. Of course, we continue to follow the developments in the breaking news coming out of Mount Pleasant all evening. 2 people killed this morning on campus at Central Michigan, and a suspected shooter remaining on the loose this evening.
Police identifying him as the man right there on your screen, 19-year-old James Eric Davis Jr. We will have continuing coverage of this story coming up after the break.
From Fox 17 News.
This is a message from Central Michigan University. The CMU Police Department is responding to a report of shots fired near the 4th floor area of Campbell Hall. Again, a report of shots fired near the 4th floor area of Campbell Hall. Please stay clear of the area. This is an important notice from Central Michigan University. Please listen carefully. Regarding this morning's incident on CMU's campus, the suspect is still at large. At this time, please shelter in place where you are if you are located on CMU's campus. Thank you.
Imagine waking up to that. That was the voicemail delivered to Central students after the first report of shots being fired. That was around 8:30 this morning. We're now learning the names of the victims of the deadly shooting that happened. According to an Illinois state representative, they are Bellwood police officer James Davis Sr. and his wife Diva. According to the Detroit Free Press, they are the parents of the suspect here, James Davis Jr.
And police still actively searching for that teenager. Let's go after our Dana Chiklis, who is in parts of Mount Pleasant right now off campus and continues to follow this as the story develops this afternoon. Dana?
Yeah, we are now in the 9th hour of police looking for 19-year-old James Davis Jr. Again, the suspected shooter in this case, still along the railroad tracks here north of the campus. You can see officers still on the edge of the tracks and the wooded brush here. Again, this is Mill Pond Park. We are just more than 2 miles north of Campbell dorm where the shooting happened around 8:30 this morning. And throughout the afternoon, we were more in a central part of campus near Main Street, and a couple of dorms there that, as far as we understand at this point, are still on lockdown. And we spoke to so many students leaving to go home to their families now for the next week for spring break. And we spoke with a pair of girls who were in different dorms throughout the majority of this morning's lockdown. One had been working the front desk, stopping other students from leaving. Another girl telling me that she just hopes this sends a message to be alert and aware of your surroundings. Here's what she had to say earlier.
I think everyone's going to be better at home now with their families, but I think coming back it's going to be a little weird. Everyone's going to be more on the edge after what happened, and I'm just hoping that everyone just learns from this and learns to be aware and just to stay safe.
And the foot traffic in that area of campus has picked up quite a bit. We saw many officers escorting students between buildings throughout this afternoon. And again, parents on the sidewalks waiting for their kids to leave the dorm or their place of residence and pack up for spring break. Again, here off of West Maple Road, the train tracks off campus on Mill Pond Park. This is where there is a scattering of police presence behind us, in front of us, and likely deep within this brush. We hear the helicopter circling a wider area around us. It was concentrated to our west and now has gone behind us in the north. So we'll continue to keep you updated as far as we see or hear any new information as a search for alleged shooter James Davis continues. We're live in Mount Pleasant for now. Dana Chiklis, Fox 17 News.
All right, Dana, thank you. We want to head back to campus now where our Darren Cunningham is standing by live. Darren, you probably would already imagine it'd be pretty quiet the day before spring break, but what's the mood like there on campus?
Well, it's much different than any other day, I can tell you that. We are actually at Campus Drive in Broomfield, outside Towers Residence Hall. We moved a little bit away from where we were, but there's still very much a heavy police presence, something that students here say they're quite frankly not used to. And many students who were inside the dorms during the lockdown, they've expressed to us feelings of uncertainty, being fearful. But as you can imagine, I would guess that parents, for parents, that feeling was much more tense, intensified. Those on the outside receiving calls, text messages from their student, from their child, hearing of an active shooter situation and not being able to do anything about it. We actually did receive one of those text message exchanges from a father of a young woman here. I'm going to find that information here. She told her father that she is hiding in a classroom with other people and that she loves him. He told her that he said, "I'm coming, honey." He said he was on his way here. You can tell from the message there that the daughter actually wanted him to stay away, obviously for his own safety. And she told him that police have everything under control. And the suspect at the time, and as we're talking now, the suspect is still at large, and police are still trying to find that person and bring him to justice. So as I've also mentioned earlier, students here said that they were satisfied with CMU's notification process, keeping them up to date on the situation. And I guess everything sort of came together as I guess you can't exactly plan for something like this, but the university and police, according to students, they feel that things have been handled very well. But right now, I guess the focus remains on finding that suspect and making sure no one else is injured by this alleged shooter. For now, I'm live in Mount Pleasant. Darren Cunningham, Fox 17 News.
All right, had to be terrifying for parents to get those text messages. Darren, thank you. Also very shocking for just about everybody on campus today.
Yeah, we're listening in right now to some students reacting after receiving that news about that shooting earlier today.
So what have you guys been hearing? When did you guys decide to go in the shower?
Well, we were about to go get breakfast when our resident hall directors told us that we should stay inside. So we went back inside, and we got a phone call at about 9:10 that, seek shelter. And so my uncle texted me and also told me to get in the shower and gave me a list of things to do. So we did that, and we've been sitting in the shower for about an hour and 10 minutes now.
And so, what are you guys feeling right now?
I'm shooken up. Both of them are too. Pretty scared.
Yeah. Have you heard anything else about what's going on?
At the end of our lab this morning, normally it's like a 2.5, 3 hour lab, but it was only about an hour today. So most of the students had just left. I was just there. There's probably 3 or 4 of us there for a bit.
It was just a regular day. I usually come here, I print a lot of paperwork, and I see some friends, and I was heading out, and I went up to meet some people, and we all heard that this was happening. We were actually by the McDonald's during the time, but it's crazy. So I really do hope this brings, this really shines a light on people and, brings a lot of people closer, especially when a tragedy happens. It's good to be with friends and family, make sure everybody's safe.
Still ahead, we will be continuing our coverage from Mount Pleasant.
Yeah, police still actively looking for the shooter who killed 2 people inside of a dorm room at Central Michigan today. The suspect, described as 19-year-old James Davis Jr., still missing this evening. More coverage from Central Michigan coming up after the break.
Good Friday evening, everybody. As we look out to the live webcams in Fremont, Muskegon, Cannonsburg, and Stanton, we've got blue sky and sunshine out there right now, and this trend, this type of weather is going to continue through the weekend because we have high pressure in control. So that's my first headline. If you've got some plans, the big Home and Garden Show in downtown Grand Rapids is this weekend. Good weekend to get out, park the car, take a walk for a couple of blocks, and check out that show. Beautiful weekend coming up here with temperatures, dry conditions, sunshine to boot, temperatures above normal for the next few days. And our next rain chance doesn't come in until Monday in the evening and overnight hours. After that, the temperatures are probably going to fall below normal. We're seeing temperatures probably about 30, 35 degrees or so as we get into the middle of next week. About 38, that's normal for this time of the year. A live job on the radar just to kind of confirm that there's no precipitation out there with blue sky and sunshine. We've got one of our warmest temperatures on the board right smack in the middle of our Fox 17 viewing area here. 45 degrees in Grand Rapids. It's 40 in Muskegon, and temperatures in the 30s with a wind coming off Lake Michigan there in Holland, South Haven, and Benton Harbor. Pull out to a wider perspective, there's nothing brutally cold on this map. Even off to the north and west, down to the south and west, there's some warmer temperatures here, which we'll kind of tap into with the sunshine and very little snow on the ground. None, in fact, for a lot of the areas around Grand Rapids and off to the north and west. That'll allow our temperatures to warm into the mid to upper 40s over the next few days. We've got some high and mid-level cloudiness rolling our way, but it's running into what I would consider a brick wall of dry air. Clouds are microscopic water droplets, and when they move to the east or they're moving this way, instead of thickening up across our blue sky, they kind of just thin out because there's very dry air and it eats away and it evaporates those microscopic water droplets. So consequently, we continue to see blue sky and sunshine. Almost a full warm moon out there. That's what we call it in the month of March. We dip down the lows around 23 degrees tonight, mostly clear, cool, not cold. That's seasonable. That's where we should be for this time of year for an overnight low, but frosty conditions by tomorrow morning with a north to becoming northeast wind. That will be light. As we look at our weather map, high pressure is anchored over the area. That creates lots of sinking air or subsidence. And when you can force the air down to the ground to sink, you tend to dry the atmosphere out. And notice as we go through the overnight hours, as we go through the day on Saturday, that high pressure generally stays anchored right over the Great Lakes. So that stays in control of our weather. It gives us a fair amount of sunshine. And it also, we will warm a little bit each day. If we had a snowpack on the ground, I'd be forecasting temperatures probably about 8 to 10 degrees below where we're going to be. But that won't be the case because there's not much snow on the ground for most of our area. You can see some rain breaking out here well to our west. This is at 6 p.m. on Sunday. Sunday will be dry. We still pick up sunshine, but this system is going to come out of the Central Plains and bring some rain in here, or at least the chance thereof, as we get into Monday later evening and Monday night going into Tuesday. Then we'll start to cool down just a little bit. 47 degrees, sunny skies tomorrow, 49 degrees on Sunday with mostly sunny skies. Monday, we're talking about mainly cloudy skies as that system moves in towards the Great Lakes. I think the daytime hours on Monday will be dry, but Monday evening, Monday night, we'll have the chance of some rain showers and a little bit cooler behind that system with a chance of a rain or some snow showers here. 40 degrees on Tuesday, and then once the system gets completely by us, we get this upper level low pressure system that sets up over the Great Lakes. That means highs only in the mid-30s with even a few light scattered snow showers, flakes and flurries. Doesn't look like anything as far as accumulation is concerned. At least that's the way it looks right now. But we'll continue to monitor that situation. But 38, that's where we should be for this time of the year. But get out and enjoy this weekend. It's going to be a good one. Derek,
right,
Janice?
thank you, Kevin. Of course, we continue to monitor the situation also coming out of Mount Pleasant this evening.
2 people shot dead this morning inside of a campus dormitory at Central Michigan University. And at this hour, police are still looking for this man, the suspect, James Eric Davis Jr. We'll have the latest details on the search coming up in just a few minutes.
Now, from Fox 17 News.
It's been really tough for a lot of my friends. A lot of alumni are putting their thoughts and prayers on the internet, and it's just everybody's just in shock. It's been a crazy day, and I don't understand how something like this could happen in a university. It's been hectic this morning. A lot of people are freaking out.
A deadly shooting on Central Michigan University's campus this morning, putting the school on lockdown. Tonight, the search continues for the 19-year-old suspected shooter who is still on the run. Thanks for staying with us tonight.
Well, Rebecca Russell was at the press conference about an hour and a half ago at 4 o'clock this afternoon. She joins us now live again from Mount Pleasant with the very latest. Rebecca?
Yeah, Derek and Janice, I'm inside the room where that press conference happened around 4 o'clock this afternoon. We heard from law enforcement officials as well as university officials. Going over just a couple of the points they made here as far as the investigation goes. The suspect has not been apprehended at this time. About 100+ police officers are searching the area north of campus for him right now, but at this point it has been many hours have gone by. He really could be anywhere around the area. So right now they are executing a slow, methodical removal of students from buildings here on campus, finally starting to get them out of that lockdown situation. But we know that there are still students on the 4th floor of Campbell Hall in lockdown where that incident took place. Now, we also heard from President George Ross a little while ago, who says that safety of this community is the most important thing, and they're going to do whatever they can to move forward from here. Take a listen.
I spoke to a group of parents a little while ago. I did some hugs. We chatted, but it's all about the safety of our community. And I'm here as the president of Central Michigan University to reinforce the fact that's our #1 priority. The governor's help, the help of the police resources will help get this criminal apprehended and duly punished. But the hurting will go on for a while, and we'll do whatever's necessary.
Now, another thing Ross said to the media earlier is that students have left or are leaving for spring break that starts tomorrow, and he hopes that students are going to be spending some time with family over break and will be able to talk about what happened here today and come back to campus. And when they do come back to campus, there are going to be many resources here as far as counseling goes if any students need a little extra attention to talk about what happened here. There hasn't been another press conference set just yet for this evening, but of course we're going to keep an ear out for that and bring you guys that live if and when it does happen. For now, we are live at University Center. Rebecca Russell, Fox 17 News.
All right, Rebecca, thank you. We want to continue our coverage now with Dana Chiklis.
Yeah, she joins us live now with more as police continue to search a certain area for that suspect. Dana?
Yeah, we're still 2 miles north of where Rebecca is about, and it's getting eerily quiet out here along the railroad tracks, just as it was on campus throughout the day. Of course, there's more shuffling and bustling as people are on their own volition leaving the lockdown still in place for so many residents. Dorms and other buildings on campus. Still a row of police behind us kind of blocking this brush area, this Mill Pond Park area. I'm looking at a parked police car in front of us, and formerly police officers were walking this railroad track earlier. So you can imagine there's a feeling of tenseness and concern among everybody you talked to today, including the students. Spoke with a pair of friends, each locked in their rooms or prospective dorms, and one girl I spoke with was working the desk at the time. And making sure that no students left. And another boy is saying, you know, his friends knocked and woke him up this morning and he knew it was serious. Here's what they had to say to me earlier.
I was just in my dorm. We just locked our doors, just made sure we're all safe. We all texted our friends and made sure everyone was pretty safe. Thank God we all were.
Everyone's kind of just getting news updates as fast as they can, notifying their parents. Not a lot of people, I found out that some of the students didn't even have the central alert, so they didn't even know what was going on. So I was just trying to stop them before they leave. I'm like, hey, you know what's going on? Like, don't go outside.
So the students I spoke with today are hoping this raises people's levels of awareness to the point of knowing your surroundings and hopeful that this can continue to be a place of learning here or there rather, on campus. Again, we're here off West Maple, straight along the railroad tracks, which looks to be one of the search sites or the periphery of the search sites for the suspected shooter, James Davis Jr. We're live in Mount Pleasant. Dana Chiklis, Fox 17 News.
All right, Dana, thanks for your reporting out there. Let's go now to Fox 17's Darren Cunningham.
Yeah, he's live on campus after speaking with some students and some parents this evening. Darren?
Yes, we're outside Towers Residence Halls behind me, Campbell Hall, where police say this shooting took place, this tragedy took place. Ironically, also probably one of the safer places to be at this moment since the suspect is still at large. And I say that because this is one of the staging areas where police have gathered, coming and going, several vehicles you can see there on your screen. And we did speak with several students who were in these buildings throughout the day. We spoke with them after 2 o'clock, after they were let out, after the lockdown was lifted. Several of them talking to us, telling us how they were just basically weren't exactly sure what was going on. They knew there was an active shooter situation. They were told to shelter in place and basically just working with minimal information. But some of them, expressed that they felt safe knowing that police were here, that they had things under control. The majority of them expressing how nervous they were, not knowing where the shooter was and not knowing exactly what was going on. Their parents as well also expressing that uncertainty. And this is spring break coming up, so some of those parents were already here or headed here to pick up their child to take them home for the week.
I think everyone's anxious. We're trying to stay as optimistic as we can, but it does hit very close to home. All of the doors in the building and outside of the building are locked. We're in a dark room, so all the lights are off and such.
Well, it's my birthday. What a great way to have a birthday, huh? I was in lab. I don't know, just after 9, we all got our text messages. You know, all the student network, school network, just said that there was an incident, and our Professor Waddell's wife called and let him know what they had heard, because we didn't have that much info for the first few minutes. Just kind of stayed in place.
And so, as you heard there, just a student we heard from earlier described this as nerve-wracking. Another student said you just never know when something like this might happen. Of course, we're hearing this is a domestic situation, an isolated incident, but the shooter is still, the alleged shooter, I should say, is still at large right now. Police trying to find him. So we'll stay out here and bring you updates as we get them. Live in Mount Pleasant, Darren Cunningham, Fox 17 News.
All right, Darren, as you mentioned, we had a chance this morning to speak with the roommate of that main suspect, who understandably said quite shocked to hear the news this morning.
As you can all probably imagine. Our Annie Satowski is live in the newsroom with more on what he had to say. Annie?
Yeah, Derek, Janice, we spoke with Brendan Erskine on the phone today. He's the roommate of the suspect in all of this, James Davis Jr., as we're learning now, a student at CMU. He tells us that he's currently in Georgia on spring break. A lot of students heading there now, but he found out about everything this morning. He says he didn't know too much about Davis's family life, but did say he doesn't think Davis was especially close with his parents, describing his roommate as a bit of an introvert. Here's how he learned about what happened this morning.
I actually woke up and I had text and stuff sent to me that there was a school shooter and they didn't have the name. So actually, right when I got the messages, I texted James right away. So because I heard it was on Campbell's 4th floor. Like I said, I'm just shocked. I never thought something like this would ever happen. I don't know how to feel about it. It's just, I don't know.
Again, here is a look at the suspect police are looking for at this hour, James Davis Jr. He's described as 5 feet 10 inches tall, weighing about 135 pounds. Remember, if you see him, do not approach him. He's considered armed and dangerous. Simply call 911. Police, of course, asking for everyone's help in tracking him down. So if you do see him or you know where he may be, go ahead and give police a call right away. Live in the newsroom tonight, Annie Satowski, Fox 17 News.
All right, Annie, thank you for that. And of course, when this first broke this morning, many people were reminded of the recent events in Florida from 2 weeks ago. But as Darren just touched on, we have since learned this is a domestic incident, but still many from Florida weighing in on this latest shooting.
A lot of those students have become very outspoken since that tragedy happened at their school. Our Lauren Edwards is live in studio now with more on what they're saying about what happened here in Michigan. Lauren.
Derek and Janice, these students now turning into activists for school safety and gun reform just 2 weeks after a shooting at their school claimed 17 lives. Let's get to some of these tweets. The first one coming from Lex. Shots fired at blank. Shouldn't have to be a headline you read more than twice in 1 week. It shouldn't have to be a headline at all. Her classmate going on to the next tweet. No one can tell me there isn't a gun problem in our country. 2 dead. How long will it take for lawmakers to listen to the next one? Sarah Chadwick also tweeting with a similar message here, quote, how many more students have to die before you realize there is a gun issue in America? How many more? And finally, Matt, going on to this last tweet, as our leaders have closed door meetings with the NRA, 2 more die in central Michigan. We need substantial change to address the gun violence epidemic in this country. Hashtag never again. I know we've been seeing that a lot on Twitter and a lot of frustration from these students, understandably so. Something we've seen again and again, not only in Florida, but with walkouts at schools here in West Michigan. And, you know, there is one planned coming up, nationwide one on March 14th. And I'm sure we will be there to report everything that happens that day. Reporting live in the newsroom, Lauren Edwards, Fox 17 News.
All right, Lauren, thank you. Up next, we're going to be continuing our coverage of what's going on at Central Michigan University.
Again, to recap, police still actively searching for the person who they believe shot 2 people this morning. James Davis Jr. wondered now in connection to those deaths. Investigators say earlier today he was seen wearing mustard yellow jeans and should still be considered armed and dangerous. We've got more on this and weather coming up right after the break.
Good evening, everybody, and welcome to a Friday as we look at the higher river levels still on the Grand River. They are down far enough to where officials have lifted the ban on recreational activities down there. Now, you can go out and fish in there now, maybe drop a boat in the water or throw a fishing line in the water. Remember, there was a ban for that because of the high water. As we look at live Doppler radar, it's dry outside. Pull out to a wider perspective. We've got some clouds trying to stream in here, but the air is very dry. They're running into a brick wall of high pressure, which is that dry air. It's just eating that cloud cover right up. So we'll see mostly clear skies through the evening and the overnight hours and into the day tomorrow. We're talking mostly sunny skies. Temperatures are in the upper 30s to low 40s across the area, 42 in Three Rivers, 44 at the airport in Kalamazoo, 41 in Hopkins and Allegan. Grand Rapids is 45 degrees. That's the warmest temperature in the viewing area. And to the north, we made the low 40s there. A very pleasant day above the normal high of 38 degrees. As we look at our Future Track HD, we have high pressure in control over the state. That's going to remain in control throughout the entire weekend. So that's going to give us dry conditions, sunny conditions, and temperatures above normal. That high pressure creates lots of sinking air or subsidence, and that tends to dry the atmosphere out. 7 o'clock tomorrow morning, if you're rolling out of bed to get some work done, temperatures will be around 23 degrees at that time. That almost full moon will be setting in the western horizon. We'll see clear, frosty conditions. And the sunrise at 7:15 tomorrow morning. We'll have a northeast wind that'll be light. We'll pick up the rest of the Future Track model. This is at 7 o'clock tomorrow morning. As we go through the day, we're talking about mostly sunny skies tomorrow and very pleasant conditions. We are talking about temperatures generally in the mid to upper 40s. This is at 6 p.m. tomorrow. Saturday night going into Sunday, there's not much happening as high pressure is still in control. We see a pretty good amount of sunshine on Sunday, maybe a few higher mid-level clouds coming in It's this rain and a system that's just off the screen there in the bottom lower left-hand corner of the television screen that's going to be coming into Michigan as we get into later on Monday, and that's our next chance for some rain showers. It'll be warm enough for rain showers at that time. 47 degrees, sunny skies tomorrow, 49 on Sunday with mostly sunny skies, mid-40s on Monday, 49 on Sunday, I should say, 45 on Monday with mostly cloudy skies, a chance of some PM and some nighttime rain showers, and then a couple of light rain or snow showers possible on Tuesday with highs around 40, and then cooler behind that system, only in the mid to maybe the upper 30s as we get into Wednesday and Thursday, maybe a few light snow showers in there, about 38. That's where we should be for this time of the year. Have a pleasant weekend, everybody. Joe's in at 6 o'clock to talk more weather forecast details. Derek, Jens.
All right, continue the weather. We also, of course, continue to follow the big story today, the shooting situation out of Mount Pleasant, Michigan.
2 people found dead there this morning. The shooter still on the loose at this hour. Police are looking for this man. Take a good look. He is considered to be armed and dangerous, so if you see him, do not approach him. Call police. The latest on the investigation is coming up in just a few moments.
Of course, we continue to follow that story out of Mount Pleasant, Michigan. 2 people confirmed dead after a shooting on the campus this morning of Central Michigan University.
And right now, hours after that shooting, police are still looking for the suspect. James Eric Davis Jr. is wanted in connection to the shooting. He is a 19-year-old student at CMU. Police say he's about 5'10", weighs about 135 pounds. He is considered to be armed and dangerous, so if you see him, don't make any contact. Instead, call 911 immediately and stay safe.
Yeah, the shooting occurred around 8:30 this morning on the 4th floor of Campbell Hall, the dormitory there. Central Michigan sent out an alert to all of its students and faculty members, locked down the campus as well. Police say the shooting came out of a domestic situation, and according to an Illinois state representative, the victims are a police officer from the Chicago suburb of Bellwood, James Davis Sr., and his wife, Diva. Now, the Detroit Free Press is also now reporting those 2 victims are the parents of the suspects. More than 9 hours later, police still actively looking for him.
We have a tremendous amount of resources here with the state police, our federal partners, FBI, ATF, our local jurisdictions, City of Mount Pleasant, Isabella County Sheriff's Office, tribal police, well over 100 police officers from this area and region and state actively looking for this individual.
Again, police say they are still looking for James Davis Jr. and do not approach him if you see him. Instead, you are asked to call 911 immediately.
We will continue to cover the situation in Central Michigan University right ahead here the next hour at 6 o'clock. Stay with us.